good measure.
Yeah, so a matchup we haven't seen this weekend.
The rug deck, you're all familiar with it. Stifle, Nimble Mongoose, Delver Seekers, Tarmogoyf, bunch of permission, cards like Daze, Force of Will, and then Lightning Bolt to sort of, Chain Lightning to sort of help clear the path or burn their opponent out. Whereas the Miracle deck takes a much more controlling route.
It has, I mean, since it has some, it has a Lightning Tutor, it has a lot more one-ofs in the enchantment side of things. It certainly is trying, attacks from a lot of different angles. Particularly in this matchup, we're probably seeing, give me a second to flip through, there's a lot of one-ofs in this deck list.
Yeah, and only one in Lightning Tutor. I'm always surprised that the Miracle decks never play. They only run one or two in Lightning Tutors. They never really try to go for that entire toolbox plan.
Right.
But
they get a lot of consistency out of their Divining Top and Brainstorm, so you maybe just don't need as much card. I mean, Lightning Tutor is card disadvantage, so you probably don't want to give up that extra card unless you have to.
Well, the good news is Counterbalance is very good against Rug, and Rug does not have access to Abrupt Decay.
Yep.
So if Dan's able to resolve an early Counterbalance, it could spell trouble for Tannon.
Absolutely. But here we see him taking a mulligan here on the, it looks like on the draw.
And Tannon after board, he has 1 Spell Snare, 2 Ancient Grudge, 3 Surgical Extractions, 3 Submerge, 1 Click, 2 Rough and Tumbles, 2 Pyroblast, 1 Envelop. No Crossing Grip, which is, you know, an answer, a possible answer to Counterbalance. But again, does have Spell Snare, which is a way to stop Counterbalance from entering play. It does have a Mandelian Click along with 2 Pyroblasts, which we can see coming in.
Sure.
And if you can get that cheap pressure, if you can get a Nimble Mongoose to resolve early and just keep a Counterbalance from entering play, still has enough ways, because again, the Miracle deck doesn't have a really good way to deal with like a Nimble Mongoose, you know?
I mean, it does have Rest in Peace.
Yes.
That's one good way of shutting kind of down his power toughness. But yeah, otherwise he has to probably Terminus it away. It's not an easy permanent to interact with.
doesn't look like there's any Supreme Verdicts in his list.
No, just the 3 Terminus.
Yep. It does have Blood Moon, which is actually pretty good against the Rug deck because they have no basic lands whatsoever. So it'd be interesting to see. I could see Blood Moon coming in, especially with the Enlightened Tutor package.
Yep, could see Blood Moon. Could also see Humility making an appearance here. Even Moat, potentially. A lot of problematic enchantments here that can lock this game out and put Tannon on the plan of going to launch a lot of burn at your head.
Yeah.
And probably those burn spells are getting shaved, which makes that a difficult challenge.
So it looks like Dan, unfortunately, has to go to 5 cards. He had Counterbalance, Rest in Peace, just not enough lands really to get anything going. You can't afford to have land-light hands against a deck like Rug because between Wasteland and cards like Daze, and Stifle, they really go after your mana.
Exactly.
So Dan going to 5 cards, he's gonna have an uphill battle, but again, he has some powerful cards that can be very frustrating for Tannon to deal with.
Sure, I mean he has cards that can win the game on their own, which is what you want when you're on 5 cards. Is you can play to those outs, and you don't have to play this kind of 1-for-1 kind of game. And if Tannon does have a Disruption light hand, doesn't have a lot of those Stifle, Wasteland kind of cards, could give Dan a chance to claw back into this one.
Now, what do you think about the Miracle deck in general in this format?
I think it has Octopus in a kind of interesting position. It certainly ebbs and flows as Abrupt Decays are more or less prevalent because that is a huge part of it. I think I like it for this metagame. I've considered playing it instead of Esper. You know, historically, I think it has its own attacks from a different angle, which I like.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of good control elements to it.
It seems like there's like an ebb and flow where there's sometimes, especially in the Open Series, where I believe it won like 2 Open Series in a row, and then it sort of fell off the radar for a while, and then it kind of comes back. And I think we see that traditionally in Legacy, where it's just, especially in the Open Series, where you just see certain decks rise and fall in prominence every week or so.
And there are so many playable decks in Legacy that you kind of expect that kind of things to change over time. Here we see Tannon's hand. Not a lot of the Stifle business going on, but certainly has a number of threats. We saw, I think it looked like Delver, Goyf, and Nimble Mongoose all present.
Yeah, and Dan, I mean, for 5 cards, he has at least Jason 3 lands, so it's not the worst.
Can't go to 4 here.
Is he considering it? I can't see what the white card is in his hand, but you know, with 3 lands Jace,
I think that's
not the most you can ask for.
I mean, if you're picking, wow, he's mulliganing that. That is an aggressive mulligan.
Wow.
If you're picking your 4-card hand, 3 lands Jace would be near the top of your choices. I feel like
maybe he just thinks it's not good enough against like a deck like Tannon. Because again,
the Jace is unlikely to resolve against a Rug Delver deck, you know?
Sure.
So maybe he just thinks, listen, the only way I'm winning this game is if I have a hand of like land, counterbalance, or land, top, rest in peace, land. You know, who knows? But again,
Sure.
is Jace really going to resolve? You know, I don't know what the last card was. If it was a rest in peace, I think it's a reasonable keep there.
Yep.
If it's rest in peace, Jace and 3 lands, I think it's a reasonable keep. But I'm not sure if it was a rest in peace.
I think at this spot, you just want to have lands. And then you hope to draw some. I mean, you're on 5 cards.
Yeah, you're
going
gonna.
to 4.
Yeah.
I mean, your 4 card hand can just have one, especially against a deck that has so many ways to attack your mana. Make sure you just have mana. So if you draw, you can just Miracle Terminus, and all of a sudden you're back in the game.
I agree with the amount of cards that he could draw that could potentially change the shape of the game. I think just you want mana.
He had a basic plane, so he's gonna be safe from the Wasteland on the Terminus.
He can, and he's on the play, so he can. Or I'm not sure if he's on the play. But again, like you said, having mana is really just what you want in this situation. And what are the odds that he's going to have 3 land in this 4 card?
Right.
But again, 2 lands, counterbalance top, that might be enough. Maybe that's what he's looking for. Maybe he just thinks counterbalance is the most important card in this matchup. I really need that. And it looks like the Rug Delver deck is on the play.
Yeah, so I think on the draw, that seems like a hard hand to be mulliganing there.
So Dan's going to 4 cards here. Let's see if he gets the 4 that he wants. Let's see if, okay, so there's 1 land, 2 land,
And
3 land.
Okay, he actually may have done better. Looks like 3 land Sword Splashers to me.
So, okay. So Tannon goes turn 1 Delver Secrets. Oh, there's a top. So interesting, Dan chooses to go turn 1 Plains, top.
And now he's saying, do you have days?
We have the days or
We're going to sit here, we're going to leave it behind our land, waiting.
Of course it will. Brainstorm for, oh, well. Tannon respects the power of the Senses Divine Top, especially with Tannon on a mulligan to 4.
Oh, rest in peace, not a Swords of Splashers, that last card.
Oh, okay. So misses with Delver Secrets, so Dan gets a little luck back. Looks like, oh, the Rest in Peace is pretty good against the remaining threats in Tan and Tan.
Tannon is basically on this Delver.
Yeah, although Tannon does have a Wasteland.
But as long as Dan fetches an island,
yeah, as
which
long
hopefully
as Dan
doesn't get
plays
ambitious. Hopefully does not get ambitious on this fetch land.
And again, with 2 fetch lands, I don't think there's a reason for him to really go for a non-basic.
I agree completely.
So, thankfully, Delver didn't flip. So, with the Tarmogoyf coming down, Dan can play a Rest in Peace and mitigate some of the damage that will be taken next turn. Oh,
There's
wow,
a Jace. So, as long as we get an island here, we are in good shape.
Yeah. We go
go
island, draw another land,
now,
hope for
do we
another
miss
missed Delver flip.
Do we miss the Rest in Peace trigger here? Those cards are still in graveyards.
Oh, wow, Pyroblast comes down. So, he has a way to flip Delver along with dealing with a potential Jace that could be coming down a couple times. So, yeah, did Rest in Peace trigger? Did it remove the cards in the graveyard, or no? Did we miss it? Looks like the players are kind of rushing through. So, okay, yeah, it looks like they were just
probably verbally announced
it.
Yeah.
Dan's playing a slow deck. He kind of knows with less than 12 minutes left in the round, let's play a little faster. So, there's probably just a verbal agreement among the two to take a little shortcut. So, good turn for Tannon. He's revealed a Pyroblast to flip the Delver, and the Pyroblast is now
He just drew Helm of Obedience.
So Pyroblast cannot stop a Helm of Obedience.
We should bring up Helm of Obedience here on the screen. It's certainly what his a good win condition in this spot. It's
one of the few
get
ways
things
he
done
has
quickly.
to actually.
Does not exercise that Tarmogoyf.
Okay, so he has a 4th land. Does Tannon have a counter spell? I believe he drew a blue card this turn. It's a spell snare. They will not be able to stop it. So, Helm of Obedience is threatening with Rest in Peace is threatening to win the game for Dan next turn unless Tannon's able to find an answer. Because of Helm of Obedience's ability, he's able to put the top card of target Tannon's library into the graveyard until he reveals a creature card, but they don't go into the graveyard. They're all removed from the game because of Rest in Peace. So effectively, he will just be milling Tannon's library.
Yep.
So amazingly enough, off a mulligan to 4, Tannon might not be able to win this game.
Ancient Grudge?
Does he have an
Ancient
answer?
Grudge.
No,
Stifle.
he does have a Stifle.
Buys him another turn.
So buys him a turn.
And he's hitting for only for 4 though, and Dan is at 10.
That Rest in Peace is very important right here. So, all right. Drops to 6 now. Draws another land. Tries to activate, stifle it.
All right.
Okay, does he? Can he draw another stifle to buy himself another turn, or an
Stifle or a bolt? A bolt or a grudge. This is an exciting draw step.
Ponder. All right, makes it a little more exciting.
We're still live, boys. We're still live here.
We're still live.
All right, so we
All
need
right.
to find.
Let's see. One, daze, ponder. All right.
Gets the shuffle. We still have a shuffle.
You have a shuffle, or he could draw the brainstorm. Well, no.
No, you don't want to draw the brainstorm.
You got to shuffle here. You got to shuffle because you don't have
Doing it.
enough
I like him doing it face up. You know, wait, we're
Whoa,
conceding. We're not shuffling.
Why would you not shuffle?
Maybe he boarded all his lightning bolts.
Maybe he doesn't have another stifle or bolt in his deck.
That's.
What was he looking for there?
I don't understand why we didn't shuffle there.
Yeah, maybe he just had the Ancient Grudge. Maybe his only out was Ancient Grudge, and he didn't have mana to cast it anyway. His only out was maybe, I don't know. That's strange.
He may have just forgotten to get to the shovel. He may have thought he was brainstorming.
Yeah, maybe. Well, either way, Dan pulls it out.
What an exciting game that was.
Exciting game. Off of Mulligan to 4, much more exciting than we expected, I think.
Definitely.
You know? Again, we were questioning the Mulligan to 5. We were questioning the Mulligan to 4, but it turned out Dan knew exactly what he wanted. He's like, all right, I need a rest in peace.
Yep.
That's very important. I need a top. And even though the top wasn't able to resolve, which again, Tannon chose to force a will, that top on turn 1.
Yep.